I think we did it time before. Tried to do it.
I think we're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
You are listening to Kayak Adventure Series. Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore. You want to be shallow. You want to go up the creek. You want to have a kayak that is sophisticated. Or a kayak that is simple. You get to choose your own adventure. Oh, looky there. That's a micro bag. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing.
What's up, everyone? I love showing the pictures instead of everyone just staring at us, I guess. During the intro. That was fun. That was a lot of good. So
it's good too, because that fish that you guys showed that I caught was from our next event. So made sense.
Oh, like waters that are inbounds, you're saying?
Yeah, it's from Wapapello.
That's right. We touched on that one last week. That's why it was in the queue here. I started bouncing around all those different pictures. So yeah.
Speaking of Wapapello, they just had a tournament last weekend. Big numbers, guys.
Really? Is this a boat or a kayak?
19 pounds boat.
Oh, dang.
Pounds. That's good for
that's very good.
June 26th in the Midwest. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very good. I mean, if you think about it, you look around at all these bass boat tournaments now in that kind of region of the country, in the South, especially, the numbers are going down now. You know, it's summertime, it's tougher fishing. So I mean, and those fish are spawned out 19 pounds. That's really like a 21 or 22 pound bag.
Well, that guy caught, I think big bass was like 6.5. So
we keep the
wow.
Kayak fishing keeps the length. We don't care about the weight. So like those fish, I mean, it's really like a,
mid 90 inches.
So yeah, that's awesome, man. I really think this is going to be interesting between that Lake Ozarkana and the river. But before we get into all that, how was your week, fellas? Billy, we missed you last week, but how was your weekend? Anything you want to share? What were you up to?
Well, I had a pretty decent local trail. We have Ohio Kayak Fishing kicked off this year after the old trail kind of went away. I did good. I took my son and his girlfriend out, so I launched them at 5:30 a.m. I told them, you guys are launching in the dark, and then I'm going fishing. So you guys have fun, and let me know if you need anything. And they had fun. I jumped out to like an early lead. I think I had 81, 82 inches. I knew that wasn't going to win the tournament, but I was doing the typical thing I do. I went in Tourney X and did screenshots that I was leading, and it was pretty good. I caught a bunch of fish in like 30, 40 minutes. It was fun. Smallest one I think was like 16. I called it late in the day. I actually caught a 16.5 later in the day I was fishing East Harbor up in Ohio. So I caught a 16.5 on a swim bait, freestyle. And it was my first one on that particular bait. I was throwing it, weedless because of the East Harbor weeds. And I thought I had a monster. I mean, when the fish hit, I thought this is why I'm throwing this bait. And then kind of set the hook a second time and skipped him across the water and was like, oh, it's a call, but
at least it wasn't a drum.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't get any off species. We actually messed up because we opened up Middle Harbor for this tournament, and I asked the kids if they were up for an adventure, and actually loaded up at 10:30. The bite had died. I loaded up at 10:30 and went to Middle Harbor, thinking if it works and I catch a kicker, I'm going to look like a genius. And after a couple hours, I was back at East Harbor, and I felt like an idiot for leaving. And then never. Anyway, it was good. Finished 16th. Aaron Stahlbaum won that tournament. He's an absolute hammer. Yeah,
he is, man. Well, hey, good start to the day. Obviously you had the good start. You didn't completely put it all together at the end, but you had a good start, and that's generally a key. So one of these tournaments, Billy, I've seen a lot of tournaments you fish now. You either have a really it hasn't all come together. You know what I mean? Like it's either a good ending, a good practice. You're on big ones and it doesn't happen in the tournament, or a good start like this one. So that's tournament fishing. So I think you're coming due here pretty soon for a complete tournament start to finish. But 16th, that's pretty good out of how many anglers. So there's a lot of
80,
handlers.
81.
Yeah,
And
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
handlers.
anglers that know how to fish that water. So
Yes.
I was happy. And I'm happy for my buddies, but it gets a little it's a little much watching your buddy win the tournament. Parker was not the first time that's happened to me where I've been out and my fishing partner, my float partner won the tournament. So
that's
I'm
pretty
happy
cool,
for
man.
them.
Yeah, happy
Dude,
for
you
them.
should have
But
targeted a rising trout on the East-West Harbor.
That's right. What about you, Jake? What are you up to this weekend? Anything cool happen?
I went on a float after our podcast. I think I went like Thursday or Friday. I don't remember, but it was pretty well. I actually caught a giant Ozark smallmouth. I actually have a picture. Here you go. Here you go.
Nice.
Big
Wow.
old, and I caught that on a glide bait. I'd take 5 of those in the Ozarkana event. That would win you the tournament right there if you caught 5 of those. But yeah, I mean that's all I really did. I did a.
That was was that the glide bait fish you posted a IG?
It
reel?
wasn't the one I've posted.
Oh.
It was
okay.
actually it was actually, this is a different one. I have not posted the video of it. It's just as epic, but it's a bigger fish, so I was taking my time with it. That first fish I caught though that I posted already was insane. Like, I mean, that was probably
that was a cool bite.
coolest catches I've had this year. Because I was like just twitching that glide bait and I see the smallmouth just come out like a rocket and just pound it underwater, like from this rock. And then she hit it so hard, she came up out of the water and I just had to instinctively set the hook. Cause I'm like, if I don't set the hook, this fish is gone. So
yeah, absolutely. That's cool, man. That was a cool reel for sure. I got a chance to, what's up, by the way, to you guys tuning in here. Looks like James, Midwest Kite Company, and our boy Ryan. I wonder if he's back from, I guess they're back from their Nebraska trip. I got to hear how that went. In the house here. Yeah, I'm sure they did. Those guys, Brandon and Ryan are always having a good time and always on fish, creating good content. I actually went out and I might have a video I can share. This is an audio visual adventure series, right? So on our live streams, we got to pull in some videos if we got them. So I actually took Theo to a fishing derby, his very first one this past weekend. And here's how it went. Tell us real quick, what is this, buddy? What did you win?
My fishing rod.
You won a fishing rod for doing what? Catching the what? Talk to it.
Bluegill.
Yeah, was it because a big one? Because you caught a big one?
Yeah.
It was 7.5 inches long, and this is what it is. You right here?
Jeez.
Theo Gregory. You're catching the biggest bluegill caught. You tied with some other people. Sophia, did you catch some?
Can I get a picture?
Let's get a picture, yeah. We'll turn it over here. Yeah, turn it over here. Look it over here, Theo. Smile. You get the idea. He ended up winning by, it was a 5-way tie for biggest bluegill, 7.5 inches, but it goes to the most bluegill caught, and he had 12. So in the 4 to 8 year old category, he won biggest bluegill and a new fishing rod. So that was pretty cool.
He should have been throwing the micro glide bait, and he would have caught that kicker.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
It was man, the first one I've ever done. It's fun watching kids, man. They can only handle it for so long. The heat was ridiculous here in Ohio. I mean, you were out there too, Billy, so that day it was so hot. And anyway, but he caught enough to take the win. So yeah, I'm sure it's bad like everywhere right now. It was cooled off a little bit, but anyway, that was pretty special for me to take him over there and see him win that little fishing derby. It was just a bunch of bobbers and worms and bluegill, but it was pretty cool being able to take both of them. Actually, Sophia reeled in a few as well, so that was cool. But anyway, that's been your Lines In presented by Sunline segment. So let's get to the news and notes real quick because we also got Josh Boothe already in the green room, so we'll run through this pretty quick. There's not a lot, so
we have a big one though. We have a big one. We all got that email from Amanda. You want to kick it off? Talk about that?
Yeah, we did talk about that last year. I actually didn't get the email because I should get the email. I should tell her to put me in those emails, but I told her to send the email, obviously, so I know.
Yeah, we got it yesterday. So
you can, if you want to briefly hit on that again, real quick.
Yeah. I know you guys talked about it, but the email came out yesterday. It's basically with the GoPro. So couple different things. If you fished Wild Whitehall and you have video from that. It's not just going to be going forward. It's not just the epic edit. The video is not just for the big bass. You have the opportunity to win a GoPro Hero 12, and then GoPro is also giving away $1,000 and a GoPro for an edit that is any fishing. So
Anytime. That's right. Anytime. And
Yeah.
actually, it's the latest GoPro, they said, because this is going to be awarded at Broodstock. So from now until Broodstock, the finale, whatever you're out there just fun fishing, just tag at Kayak Adventure Series, tag at GoPro, and the best clip that, we decide, the coolest, best clip, whatever. It doesn't have to be an edit, just could be one single clip. And sometimes people forget like how there's a little bit of like something special when you capture something that's so good on one clip without any editing and transitions and music and all that. That's got a lot of power and value to it, cast a catch kind of stuff. So don't think that just because you're not putting together some edit, you're not going to win this, because you very well might. And we're going to give away $1,000 GoPro is, and the latest GoPro. So that tells you something. I've actually seen it already. They showed me the latest GoPro, and dude, it is unbelievable. So,
and we did already have someone submit a what do you call it? We had someone submit an edit yesterday.
oh,
I saw
nice.
it.
Yeah.
And they submitted it. They posted on Instagram and tagged us, so we did see it.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. We're gonna
and it was a cool one too.
Share that stuff too. Jake's been keeping up with it, and he'll be sharing it. That's awesome. We're gonna eventually get it to where, let's say we have 100 people in a tournament. Well, I think we're gonna eventually get to the point where half the field is sending us a clip. You know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to get to, because then we're gonna have all this cool footage. And that's what makes these live streams, it makes our presentations on the stage, the theaters, really special. So the challenge to Ozarkana is going to be who can literally just set a GoPro up and film themselves for this, day and a half. And in worst case, you don't have a GoPro, just pick up your phone, turn it on yourself, and just get a shot of you holding up that fish and talking about it while you let it go. Something like that, so we can show cool stuff on the screen there.
You don't have to make a crazy edit. I know Drew just said that, but my mantra when it comes to like posting and just like my channel vibe in general is just authentic moments on the water. Like it's literally just like you gotta be recording to catch those moments. Like that glide bait fish we just talked about. I know Ryan's roasted me for saying insane like 10 times, but it literally was an insane catch, and I never would have had that if I didn't have my GoPro running.
Yep,
so
that's true.
It almost made me want a second GoPro running, because I'm like, man, if I had one up front, I could have seen him come out of the rock. Maybe I need to get is like a front cam, that's like it's not facing me, it's just facing the kayak out, and then you get that that like cone in front of you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you guys want to hear another cool announcement? It's actually a stat correction from last week. I know last week we talked about we're going to announce this $25,000 AOI and Broodstock prize giveaway, right? I actually continued to do more of my spreadsheet and added it all up. I knew I was over 25,000 in prizes, not counting any of the entry fees for Broodstock in October, which the website for Broodstock is almost done and up and ready. Okay, you guys will see that fairly soon. But I went back and did the math, and I guess I just was bad at my quick math. I actually were up to $40,000 just in prizes. Forget the cash and the entry fees, right? We're up to $40,000 just in like prizes for that event. So Broodstock's going to be.
Does that count the GoPro edit?
Yeah, I believe the $1,000. I believe it does. I'll go back and check actually, but
because that sweetens the deal even more.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a fun event there at Bowling Green, Kentucky. Very centralized to most people. So that's going to be really cool to be at that very first one. So that's other news and notes here. And then I've got, last night, guys, at 8 p.m. last night, I got on a call here on StreamYard, just like we're talking now with, dude, there was like 9 tournament directors on this call, and they were all from Virginia and North Carolina. Not every one of them, we almost had all of them. And thanks to Hank, man, Hank's doing an incredible job. Like he's so passionate about the sport and especially his region. And he's writing these great recap articles for us, which you guys have seen, and now we got a system where we're getting them up like right, at least by Monday, right after our events end on Saturday. They're usually up and ready with the photo galleries. Thanks to you guys and Jake, especially for getting those galleries together so we can add those. So we got good coverage of the events. And then he gets together with all these directors and we're already planning on how we can work together in unison to make the South Boston Bassathon next year this incredible event. And they're excited about it. We're excited about it. I just love to see the unity and the the directors from local, regional, national, all in the sport of kayak fishing working together. That's what just like, man, it melts my heart, because that's like what this sport is all about. Just the camaraderie, the fellowship, and
It made me really
positivity.
happy. It made me
Yeah.
really happy hearing how the Michigan, the club that we worked with up there, how like excited they were that we decided to come up there. And like,
Oh, yeah.
just like everyone that fished it, like all the guys I talked to, the tournament director, he was super jazzed. He got to go up there and, give away I think they gave away like 3 or 4 pretty good prizes. So
Yeah, it was unreal. I mean, this has been like more than I ever could have hoped for. Because like the last thing I ever wanted when we start this is someone to say, "Oh, it's another club." We want to just people to kind of like be anti of the new thing. You know what I mean? When you're the new kid on the block, it's hard to get the respect. Whether a new lure company, a new rod and reel company, new anything, right? So for them to kind of welcome us like this has been amazing, and work together with us. I've
and
really
help
been,
lift them up, because
yeah,
like when we leave those events, like now White Lake's like, hey, let's get, we might not go back, but then like that club could go back. I mean, they
yeah.
had well over 70 people from their club signed up. I mean, it was a lot. So
They're busting 100 one of these days over there. I'm telling you, when it all hits just right and the water stopped running on you guys, Billy, and Parker still got something to eat, but there's multiple lakes and rivers there, many that could hit 100 inches, and I think it's possible. So
I
it's a good
mean, I
venue.
absolutely agree. Like that fishery was insane. Like just even White Lake proper
Yes, just right
was
there.
insane.
Yep.
Like,
All right. Well, last thing here, we can bring Josh in here. He might can help us actually with this next, because he's already here. I'm going to do a Did You Hear here in a second, Billy. Let's bring him in. You want to bring him in and introduce this guy? Yeah.
oh, he's got the fish tank going.
He does,
Yeah.
man. What a setup.
Yeah, look at that background.
Is that a
Dang.
new location?
Newly improved.
Ah,
What a setup, dude. I've got oh man, I got a fish tank, and it's a pain to keep up with. That one's a lot bigger than mine, but
Yeah, it's kind of a new hobby me and my wife have gotten into. We probably have about a dozen tanks across the house. So it's kind of
you know
cool.
what? I need to take a picture of my tank, Josh, because here's the deal. Everybody, when they walk into my house, they all comment on this fish tank, because here's what I did. Have you ever seen the movie Grumpy Old Men?
I have.
Mhm.
You remember he's got the goldfish in the old TV, the antique TV that's gutted out, right?
Yeah.
So I literally got an old TV, and I had a welder on the top cut out the exact size of a 20 tall, aquarium, 20-gallon
Mhm.
tall. And it literally just fills the screen. So you look, and it's just, all you see is the screen, you know what I mean? It's just these fish swimming in there, and it's just,
That's
I
awesome.
gotta share a picture of that. It's a pretty cool fish tank. So if
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I've only got one though, so kind of, you can beat me on the numbers there for sure. But anyway, well, how you doing, man? How's the man that's one of the busiest tournament directors in the country with the All-American Kayak Series and the MoYak, and just a lot you got going on, man. And it's a labor of love, because people are falling in love with the sport and making memories, and having times of their lives. And you're over there, I know, working hard so they can have that enjoyment. So how has it been this year so far?
Oh, it's been a good year so far. We have seen a little bit of a downtick in some of the numbers. I kind of think it's just the errors of our now makes it a little more tough to get out and play like we used to. But overall, it's been great. We got a great group of guys, and been traveling. We just got back from Kentucky Lake, and we're getting all set up again to head out to Poplar Bluff and go right back over there again. So it's not too far from there, really.
How was that Kentucky Lake event? Was it? I mean, is that a little bit hot?
It was hot. Yes, it was miserably hot, and a lot of big boat traffic. And the guys battled it out, still caught some fish. But honestly, I think it's still not quite back to where it used to be.
Right.
Well, Bassmaster just named it. I want to say, let's see. I think they gave it 12th in the Midwest region, like the Central region, saying that it had rebounded quite a bit, which I thought was really interesting, because it seems like people are split.
There was a lot of numbers caught, a lot of short fish, a lot of 10 to 14s were caught, tons of those.
That's a little out. Go ahead, Jake.
I was going to say, from what I've been told, it's really like the smallmouth have really just pushed back in, and it's really becoming more of that like classic smallmouth fishery again. And I think part of that is because like maybe the smallmouth weren't as devastated by the carp as the largemouth, because those carp, like, they get into the largemouth water. So it really kind of like, I think it threw off the spawns, and they were having so many problems with the carp.
Hmm.
That and the fact that they have so many tournaments on that lake, that can't be good for it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean it's
and I'm
true. It's
talking
a
about boat
huge,
tournaments, not kayak tournaments.
yeah, but
Obviously,
it is a huge lake though. So
yeah, it's
they
massive.
can, I mean, like I know it doesn't have the grass that Gunnersville does, which is why Gunnersville, similar gigantic lake that has tons of tournaments nonstop. But still, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully that lake rebounds fully. Was that's a little kind of outside the region of All American has gone to in the past. So was that the numbers down on that one, or was that because you had a great
Yeah.
numbers at your All American Classic? You had like 200 people.
Yeah, the classic keeps growing every year. We're going to really try to develop that and focus on that more for next year. Everyone really seems to like that club versus club championship, feel, the bragging rights and a lot of, the clubs here in the Midwest, with the series and stuff and the old Midwest kayak fishing series that used to be around, there's a core group of guys that have traveled and hung out together a lot. And, they may be states, you may live in different states, but there's still some good camaraderie that goes on. So that's always fun.
For sure. We talked well before all this kayak adventure series stuff for 2025 is announced, which some of it's already been announced. The first three, Florida, Ocala, Paris, Texas, and South Boston, Virginia. And, you guys are going to team up with us over there in Paris, Texas. And that place is starting to get we announced that and talked about it last week on the show. It's getting tons of attention because of that new lake boat arc. So that'll be really cool to see how that works out. And then we have a little spoiler alert for you guys. We have a couple of other Midwest locations that are about to be announced in the future. So, and I think you guys will be teaming up with us on another one of those. So let's fit that All-American Classic somewhere, obviously on a weekend that maybe even I could potentially come out and fish it. I would love to fish that tournament, dude. 200 people. That starts getting my juices going. We start getting the best anglers, the 200, man, that starts getting me excited. I would love to fish it.
It's not an open either. You got to qualify to get into it. If it was an open event, we'd probably draw a lot more, but it's the top 15 from every club in their final AOI standing. So any series or clubs invited. And in years past, I've extended that invitation out to Hobie and Bassmaster as well. If you finish the top 15 in AOI, you're invited. You've earned your ticket.
Can we do it
for
Kayak Adventure Series? Top 15%, you said, for AOI?
Yes, sir. Any club, any series.
Top 15% for AOI. It's another reason to fish, 2 of the 5 regular season events, and then the Broodstock finale, which is your final score to, make 3 events for us for AOI. Top 15%, you get an invite to. So how am I going to qualify? Now I got to go with research and figure out what club around here. Is it any club all across the country or?
Yeah, including the Bassmaster Opens. You're up there in that AOI race.
So Bassmaster series. Oh, okay. So I qualify through that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I mean, I don't have 3 events yet, but I will. So after the Susquehanna and Caddo, and so I've never finished worse than 4th in AOI. So
I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I said that.
Knock on wood.
We need to get the MoYak River series as a qualified series, because that's all I fished this year, unfortunately.
It is this year. Yeah, the River series will qualify.
All right, I'm golden.
Top 15.
You're in. Okay, we got to fish this. We got to schedule this.
Man. I'm sitting like 3rd right now, so I got.
Keeps getting better. Like he just keeps saying yes every time.
Should I auto qualify for winning the Bassmaster Championship? Doesn't that get you auto qualified in? Like,
oh yeah,
that's like, we need Bass to get in.
It's like a golden ticket.
Well, I think it actually gets me in. I'm the first one in next year's championship. I think it gets you into that one too. So technically I wouldn't even have to fish anymore Bassmasters. I'll have to confirm that with Steve.
Right.
I'm not sure. But anyway, if it does, then maybe it'll get me into the All-American. I'm going to try to make that one next year, man. I got a lot on my plate.
It's already booked and scheduled for that first weekend of May. That's when it's going to be. So
is it at Truman again?
That's when we're over in that's when we're in the South Boston Bassathon.
Oh no.
The first weekend of May. And we're way far away, at least. So that's good that we're in separate regions doing something again. That's actually happened this year too.
Is that one on Truman again?
Yeah, that one is hosted by Everhart's Outdoors and the city of Clinton, Missouri. So that's their baby. So that's what stay there.
Yeah.
On Truman.
Are you guys always using the first weekend of May? Because what I'll have to do is in the next year, I can maybe adjust my schedule by a week, and that way I can get over there and try to fish that one.
Yeah, and in the past few years, we've been doing it the last weekend of April, but the city's got like prom and other stuff going on for their convention center. So
Yeah.
graduation, there's all kinds of
Zoomers,
stuff.
man.
So we've moved it to that first weekend of May, and I think we've got that locked in for good. So it should be that same date moving forward every year.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. What's Dwayne talking about? Can he join from Canada? He's in Mississippi. What are you talking about, Dwayne?
I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about. But somebody earlier here, let's see. Jeffrey, let's get back on track to Ozarkana here and talk a little MoYak. Already registered for Poplar Bluff event. You cannot wait. We'll see you there, Jeffrey, and we'll have that $100 gift bag from our sponsors for you because you're one of the first 50. So that's awesome.
It looks like we've had a few registrations trickle in. I know my boy Jonathan Dominguez from Eco. He just registered last night, so he's ready to go, and he's going to run the gauntlet. He's doing single, team, and then MoYak single and team. So if they take it home, that could be a big purse, man.
Yeah, absolutely. This makes sense. Dwayne's over there at Hobie Fishing World.
Oh, right. I forgot that.
Yeah, I've been kind of following along with that event. That looks really cool. So unfortunately, I have an invite to Worlds, but I couldn't make it because we have a family reunion. Tomorrow I leave for a family reunion.
I was wondering about that. I was like, where's Drew?
Every 2 years. I know. I've never. And then the year before, it was I can't remember, they were Sweden or somewhere. And it was, I don't know. But anyway, I just hadn't been able to make it. I don't know if your invite eventually, if you lose it, if you can't make, you know what I mean? Like a couple or 2 or 3, I don't know how many chances you get, but I know I earned it for AOI, the Hobie in 2020. And then it all got kind of pushed back due to COVID. So we kind of been delayed on when we're actually going and kind of got mixed up. Anyway, one of these days, hopefully I'll get over there and fish that one. I was going to mention something else. I think that was about it. Let's talk about this event a little bit and how you think it's gonna go down. Let's talk a little MoYak. So MoYak has a joint event with us, and what's the entry fee on the MoYak?
$68 for MoYak.
Okay, $68. And then, so some people could. So I feel like locals have the best odds, right, to do well. You're kind of used to the water, you're comfortable with it. I mean, it doesn't guarantee anything. Home lake curse is there too, right? But so this is kind of turned it into a much bigger event for you guys that are MoYakers out there. So you put in your 68 there, then you can choose to fish the $150, individual division presented by Torquedo, or the X2 Power team division, the 2-man team division, also $150, but that's $75 a piece. So you could go 68 and then just do the 2-man team division. So add another $75 and now you're fishing the team division, or add in, 150.
Do them all.
Another 150 and do it all. Just go all in.
Spin that roulette wheel.
And you got the best odds. And here's why I think that's not the worst idea. Because we've had a couple announcements here. I might check my phone to see if another one has come in. Okay. Joey from Crockett Gators adding in $500 to go to the $100 each we pay out 15%. Josh, I don't know if you remember that. So top 15%. So if 100 people are in this tournament, we're paying out 15 right there on stage with a check, which, by the way, we haven't really talked about or mentioned a lot, but it's been pretty cool. I haven't heard a peep from anybody about anything. We hand them the checks and all the money is in a separate bank account. It just goes right back out to them. No one said, this bounced or what happened. I mean, it's amazing. We just hand the checks right there and you guys cash them on Monday, when the tournament's over, when they're dated for, because it ends on Saturday evening, right, at the awards. But 15%, so 15 anglers will get paid out. And then thanks to Joey at Crockett Gator, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 are all getting $100 each, which is almost like their entry fee back, right? So it's, nice. It's pretty nice. And then on top of that, Midwest Kayak Company is offering $300 gift cards to their shop on top of that. So what's that? 21, 22, 23. So now we're up to 23, and potentially we'll see if Eco Fishing Shop's going to do something similar, because they're all discussing what they want to do, potentially something similar. So we might get up to, like, I would say in the mid upper 20s for a payout. And again, $100 gift card is not $100 cash. I get that, but that's pretty good. Man. I mean, it's better than nothing, and it still gets you, some yak stuff. There's a Crockett Gator buzzbait right there.
Yeah, use that money to buy some of these. They'll get you some fish right there.
That's right.
Yeah, we got a local guy, which I'm sure everyone's heard. Everybody knows Chad, but he 2 years ago just ran the table with that bait.
It's a good one. It's one of my go-tos now for sure.
Yeah, it's a good one. And then a $50 prize bag. I mean, sorry, $100 prize bag. So you're already guaranteed if you're one of the first 50 to get that $100 prize bag. Plus, if you end up in this top, basically 30% were paid out. That's literally like it's all going to be $100 past, our top 15%. I mean, literally, it's almost you can't. Yeah, that's $200. The entry fee was $150 just for the individual. So, yeah, I mean, I think you can't lose at this event, guys. You cannot lose if you're in that region. You got to come out. Steve Baker's got a question: is the MoYak just Saturday, or do you have to be a member? And are your awards at the same location? So, how are you guys doing the MoYak? Is it just Saturday only? I think it is, right?
Yeah, it is just Saturday only. And we also run a 2-man team series as well for MoYak members. So if some guys could even, if you're feeling really lucky, you could really get in a lot of tournaments that weekend. But you do not have to be a member to compete. Members do get a little bit more of a discounted entry fee. But other than that, everyone's welcome to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the awards, we're going to do the awards at the same location, same time.
Yep, exactly. Get you guys.
It's going to be sick. That theater is huge, so we'll have plenty of room.
There's a lot of guys that are from MoYak that are excited about it too.
I do want to clarify something, since that's a good thing to lead into. So MoYak, typically pre-fishing, you can pre-fish Friday, right? So we have our event on Friday. Have we decided, and I think this has been decided, but I'm going to let Josh talk about it, is like, how are we handling like the Friday afternoon session in regards to the pre-fishing with MoYak?
Well, it's my understanding that your guys' event ends at 7 p.m. on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the time I have listed for the MoYak pre-fishing to end. So if guys are pre-fishing or in your tournament, they can stay out on the water until 7, so that there's no conflicts.
That's perfect. So it makes it so much easier to do that afternoon session and do the MoYak event, because you get like it's like a bonus, man. So you get to get a little pre-fishing in.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because if you catch one, it counts, and it also counts in the sense that it gives you better intel what to do the next day for MoYak as well. And then, of course,
it's not that like foreign to the MoYak guys, because they do have that evening series, which is really cool. So
yeah, it's very cool. Steve's saying, when is the latest registration for individual and team? I'm pretty sure it's listed on the website. If you go over there, you can always register at all the Kayak Adventure Series events up until that opening ceremonies on Thursday.
I think he's probably asking for MoYak.
Oh, for MoYak? Oh, so yeah, that's a good question.
MoYak,
you can register that more, or like lines in. I think it goes till 6 a.m., right? So if we put it,
that's correct.
That's what he's asking.
So you could literally walk up to the boat ramp and be like, you know what? I feel lucky. Open your phone and register for MoYak.
Yeah, for MoYak, our registration ends as soon as the competition begins.
Okay, perfect. So that's actually great. Like you're saying, Jake, you can kind of like get a feel for what happened on Friday afternoon session at the KAS, and then
you should totally register ahead of time, guys. Just get it in, register for both events.
You should, just go ahead.
Well,
I mean, that's a pretty good number already. We got we got some time
20.
here. How many weeks away are we? A couple, 3 weeks, 2.5?
Several, yeah.
So having 20 almost now, which we probably have, I don't know how many teams we have, but we probably have some anglers in the team division that aren't in the individual division. So we probably have 20 something people, but these gift bags, they're going to be gone. Once you start getting into that, like 35, 40 people, all of a sudden then it's like, I want to make sure I get that gift bag and be the top, one of the first 50. So it's going to go quick. And then at that point, we're going to be, a week and a half away from the tournament or whatever. And then people are going to need to start registering just because it's getting close. Jonathan's got a question: off the water by 7, or do you get more time? Lines out is 7. But did you say for MoYak off the water by 7, or are you just saying pre-fishing ends at 7, so lines out for pre-fishing, but you have time to get off the water if you're
not going to make it complicated? Sure. Yeah. Just stop fishing at 7.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that big of a deal, really.
Yeah, we just want to make sure
we don't even really need any limits. Just don't want anybody on the water at night or anything like that.
Yeah. Stop fishing at 7. All right.
Especially if you knew how big those mosquitoes were at Wapapella, you'd never want to be on the water at night.
Yeah, that could definitely be an issue. They can get bad out there. They'll carry you away for sure.
Yeah, when I fished the MoYak Wapapella event last year, and it was oh my gosh, it was brutal. I never faced so many like hurdles. Just insects, heat, because I think it was like 100 degrees on tournament day, so it was wild.
Yeah, it was bad.
John saved my life because I was like overheated at the boat ramp, and he's like, "Hey man, take this Gatorade."
You guys allow motors, right? MoYak? Okay.
Yes.
So there's no rules, confusion or anything like that. We're just going to run it the same way, same rules, easy. I like how Josh he's obviously a seasoned tournament director because he said, we're not going to make this complicated. He's just doing it the easiest way possible. Right. So what do you think, man? I mean, let me just throw this out to you because you have tournament directed a lot of events and a lot of events that are in waters and bounds there. And I know you had one last year. It was tougher later in the August or something. But I mean, what do you think, given that you got a day and a half, an extra, and actually we figured out last week on the show, Billy, you weren't on the show, and Josh, I don't know if you were listening or not, but we actually figured it up. We're only fishing 2.5 hours less than a full 2 8-hour days because we keep our lines out at 3, but in the summer, our lines in gets earlier and earlier because, we have more daylight. Our lines in is like 5:30. So it's 5:30 to 3. So you have a really long day, a 9.5-hour day on Saturday, plus those 4 hours on Friday. You only are fishing 2.5 hours less than a full 2-day event. And it's just 5 fish. That is going to help. That's probably going to increase your, limit a little bit, like a fraction, a little bit of, for sure. It's got to. It's more time. On top of that, you got a lot of different waters and bounds, which is going to spread anglers out. A lot of, whatever people like, they can choose creeks, rivers, lakes, Wapapello, Clearwater, Duck Creek, Mingo, whatever they want to fish for a still body water. What do you think is going to win this thing, man? Do you think it's hitting mid 90s or something, or what is your guess?
I do. Yeah, I'd say you're going to have to get over 90 to cash it or to win it for sure. 95 is very, very possible. We had our River Series tournament out there a couple weeks ago, and I think it was close to 90 inches that won it, and there were several 18-inch smallies that were caught. Some good sized smallmouth were caught on the rivers out there, so that's possible. And like you said, with that extra time, you could really get out there and cull and get a good score with just needing 5 fish. So yeah, I don't think that 95 is a crazy number at all.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely Ryan caught a 20 in the River Series last week, so there's big ones in there. They're lurking, and if we weren't fishing together, he probably could go down through there and catch. He probably would have hit that 90-inch mark.
I tell you what, too, the Wapapello has been coming on lately too. It's gotten a lot better. I've been seeing a lot of good reports and seeing some good fish caught out there this year versus past years. So I think it's getting a little bit better. That might be something to keep in the back of your mind as well too.
Yeah, we talked about that a bit in the pre-show. There was the tournament last weekend. There was a 19-pound bag with like a 6.5-pound fish.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's good. That's good for there. Real good.
Jake was proud of his fish here that he caught. It's 20-something out of Wapapello.
Yeah, it was 21 and something at Wapapello. Sadly, that was not during the tournament. That was during pre-fishing.
They're in there.
Hey, speaking of that, I'll shout out Chad over at KBF right now. You know what he said he's going to do next year? He's going to, if you're a KBF member, he's going to give bonus bucks for the Kayak Adventure Series based on how you finish. So if you're a member of KBF, and here's what's cool, he's going to do something. I'm not going to announce exactly what it is, but it involves pre-fishing. That's why I thought about this, Jake. When you caught that fish, he's going to have something for you guys who are there pre-fishing, because you're kind of like he said to me, he's like, man, how many people have been let down? They caught this giant fish in pre-fishing. You talk to him and they're like, well, how'd you do? And they're like, I caught my PB, but it wasn't during the tournament, and almost down about it. So he's like, I got an idea on how we can piggyback on what you're doing, add some bonus bucks to the field, and include this pre-fishing so that people don't have that feeling anymore. They got a chance to win something all week long. So that's kind of cool. Again, it's tying into that camaraderie and the building up and the rising of all ships sort of thing between, the national clubs. And then of course, working with local clubs doing the same thing. We can all just keep growing. So shout out to Chad KBF for doing that.
It kind of goes back to the GoPro thing as well. So, I mean, you can catch a fish during practice, and now GoPro video is cool. And then, KBF, I love it. That's great.
You can win stuff for it. So that's really cool. So 90 something inches is what we're thinking. Let me just say this real quick, because somebody out there their juices on Wapapello. They love that lake, and they're like, man, you guys are just hitting this hard, because we're hitting it hard because there was a tournament there. So we have results and data from there. You know what I mean?
It is the biggest lake in town.
It's the biggest lake. It gets the most attention, but I just want to shout out and say these other lakes, they may have just as big a fish, if not bigger. But because there's not tournaments and we're over there saying, oh, look at this Clearwater was won by 20, you know, or the local John Boat club on Duck Creek Conservation Area. Oh, look, that was one with, you know, whatever, like 18 pounds last week or something. Like, dude, I think it could be won in any of those lakes.
It could.
And obviously the rivers too. I think it could be one in any of these places. So I'm excited to see. I know me personally, it's hard not to go to the Ozarks, and Jake, you and I are going to go fish, and we're going to fish a river, that clear blue Ozark stream, because I don't get to experience that all the time. I can go throw at cypress trees and vegetation on Caddo later this year. I'm not too, you know, concerned about going over to Duck Creek or Wapapello. You know, I can go fish a lake around here any day, and it'll, you know, lake is a lake to me. But those kind of rivers are special. So when I practice over there, when I not even pre-fish, I guess when I just get out and fun fish, since for me, I'm not fishing the tournament, but it's going to be on one of those Ozark streams. But we won't share too much of our pre-fishing stuff beforehand, but afterwards
we've already picked out our route. So
we got our stretch we're going to do, and we're excited about it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll throw in something, you know, that some people watching this that are not from the area may not know, that this area, the Poplar Bluff area, as far as the amount of anglers, kayak anglers, it's pretty sparsely populated. There's not a lot of people that would consider that their home water. So it's not like MoYak is going to have a huge advantage, because there's a lot of guys from MoYak that have never been there before. You know, for me, it's a 4.5 hour drive just to get to Poplar Bluff. It's not like it's close. So there's a lot of water out there, but it's a lot of unexplored water too. I mean, only a few local people may know about the hidden gems, like you're saying about Clearwater and some of the other rivers. They're out there for the guys who want to go explore and find them. Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, speaking of, you know, frogs and vegetation and throwing at cypress trees and stuff, which is totally crazy to think about. We're fishing an Ozark tournament, and that could be in play over there at that Duck Creek.
Because it's in that floodplain, man.
Yeah, join us. Exactly. The floodplain is very interesting, be very intriguing. It's not sexy looking. It's murkier. It's not as farmland. It's not it, but it's warmer water. It's murkier. It's more nutrient rich. It's very intriguing to me for a largemouth potential. You know, I think the smallies may be further up in that cleaner, cooler, clear water, but I don't know. We don't know. I mean, I could be totally wrong about that, but
I might catch a snakehead too, man. They're in there now.
They're in there now.
It's crazy how quick it changes too. When you're driving heading east, and you're in the mountain hillies and the rocks and everywhere, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're just in a flat plain. The creeks turn darker and muddier. There's more brush and stuff. It's crazy how quick it transitions from one type of terrain to the other.
And there's really snakeheads. Like, they're coming from the Mississippi, since that free flows into the Mississippi. Is it really?
They're not sure, but they're below the Wapapello Dam, and
oh boy,
they've been in Mingo apparently for a bit. So I guess they're making their way over.
Mingo, really? No.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of them, but they're
not confused with bowfin, are they? Because I can see
nope.
Nope. Okay,
They're
actual
snakeheads.
Wow. Yep. But what I was saying is, speaking of frogs, you can join me for this segment. Billy, you want to pull up the Did You Hear? I think you could do that. Join us for a segment. Right now, I'm going to pull up this photo. You see that? Frog? Did you hear? Oh, sorry, Billy.
Nope, I'm going to do it again.
Did you do it again?
All right, go ahead.
Did You Hear? Presented by Turtlebox. Did you hear about the post that we shared on Instagram last week or a week and a half ago, 2 weeks? I don't know. It's been a while. Alex Rudd tied this frog. We can pull up that picture again. And I looked at that knot, and I was like, it just immediately looked like a person to me. Like, it didn't even look like a knot. It looked like a person, right? So we'll pull it up, and you can see we said caption this, right? It's got like a person wearing, like, with spiky hair coming out.
Looks like a genie.
Yeah, it looks like a genie. Yeah, we don't know like what it is. I thought it looked like a grandma swaddling a baby. Not. I mean, her two legs are there. Her dress is there. Skirt. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, we posed that question on our social media and said, caption this and you'll win. We'll send you guys a Kayak Adventure Series hat, you know, whatever color you guys want. We got tons of them. So I want to pull up a couple of my favorites, and you guys, maybe we decide right here live, like, who wins this thing. I kind of have my favorite, but it may not be the consensus. So here's some of the ones I picked that I thought were good. One was the Michelin Man, Trevor Mazukas. Looks like the Michelin knot. So looks like the Michelin knot. So that was his comment that I thought was good. So, I mean, I can see that, right? I mean, it looks like the Michelin knot for sure.
Oh yeah, I see it.
He's got the rolls.
Oh yeah.
All right. So then, who was next here? We had another one that, again, these are kind of like the top ones that I picked. Oh, Jake Horn was like, it's the Doc Brown, like Great Scott, hashtag Great Scott. And it's because of the hair. He's got the spiky hair. He's wearing the white, it just seems like that might be it too. So the Great Scott knot, that kind of rhymes. This one I thought was a little bit honorable mention. Went by Boyder fishing with Alex. I'm gonna tie up a frog real quick. Frog, can you make one of those cute little people knots I like so much? Alex, bet. That was pretty funny. And then this one I think may have been my favorite. It just made me laugh out loud a little bit more, and we can totally disagree on this. But Justin Larson just said, "It looks like a woman with her arms folded, mad that you were late getting off the water. Now I'm gonna have nightmares." So that one made me laugh the most, even though the other ones may have been a little bit more like, oh, and the last one I didn't put up there, which I'll find who wrote it first, was the Aunt Jemima knot. And, it looked like Aunt Jemima with that, bandana thing she wears. And I wish I would have thought of this later, because I think this Teletubby is what it actually looks like to me. It actually looks like a Teletubby when you put it side by side. I wish I could do a side by side. Somehow, Billy, I don't know how we can figure that out, but it looks like kind of like a Teletubby too. So I don't know. What do you guys anybody in the comments have a favorite? I mean,
it definitely looks like the Michelin Man.
Yeah.
It looks most like the Michelin Man. Probably.
I was leaning towards the Michelin Man until you said the arms crossed. I think she's mad at us for out there fishing. Or something.
Aunt Jemima too.
Yeah, I can see it too. It's more like, are we going by which person to describe who it looks like the best, or the one who just made us laugh the most? Because I was kind of leaning toward just the one who made me laugh the most, because that we've all kind of, that's just a funny thing, I guess. If everyone who's had a significant other, when you tell them you're going out fishing for an hour, you're gone for 3 hours. You know what I mean? You come back and they're just like arms crossed, like, yeah, what happened to an hour, dude? Like, or when I say last cast, it's not even close to last cast. When I tell my wife that,
it's like what I usually say, we're heading towards the ramp, and that could mean a lot of things. If you're floating a river, you're heading towards the ramp, but it's 3 hours away. You're not lying, because you are heading towards the ramp.
I was like the water was lower than I thought, and it's a slow float. I'm sorry.
Boat ramp was crowded. I had to wait.
And now that motors are part of our game, you got to be like, oh, my battery died. You got to give that excuse now, because it's like she could be like, well, why didn't you just motor out? Like, oh, well. So I saw a funny Instagram the other, or no, it was I don't know, Twitter, X, whatever you call it now. It was funny. The guy said, it's just a reel or something. He was like, I tell my wife that when he plays golf, and he's like, I tell my wife that golf takes 7 to 8 hours. And so really, when I'm having dinner and beers with the guys back at the clubhouse, and she calls me, I'm like, man, we're still on the 12th hole, man. It's going slow. And she just thinks golf takes 7 to 8 hours. And he's like, because if I can't have my dinner and beers with the guys, then I just don't know how I'm going to go on. So basically she just thinks that's how long it takes. So a river float takes all day. Sunlight to sun dark, it's a 4-hour float. No. It's sunlight to dark. So you're really at the restaurant afterwards, having beers.
Well, like when I did the river series, we did like a 20-mile float, because we're crazy, me and Ryan, and we get around this bend, and this guy's like, I had texted my wife like, hey, line's out, we're heading back towards the ramp, and this guy is like, these guys are floating, and I'm like, okay. It's like, we're heading down to this bridge. And he's like, okay, yeah, you guys got about 2 hours. And I looked at Ryan. I was like, oh, no, we messed up. So we weren't off the water until, I want to say like 8:30, like right as
This is the time to do it, man. Time of the year to do it.
Timed it perfect. You timed it perfect.
I know. I told him, I was like, man, if we missed a lot of prime water, because like right as that sun was going down, we were passing stuff. I was like, man, I would love to fish this. But
yeah. So what do you guys think? Who we didn't give this thing to? Jabba the Hutt. Jonathan Dominguez says Jabba the Hutt. That's pretty good too. It does.
Can't give it to Jonathan. He's already got that hat.
Yeah. I mean, Southwest Indiana Outdoors is saying the Michelin Man was awesome, but then he's also saying the arms crossed is the funniest. So
I agree with that.
I mean, I could send a hat out to each of those guys. I mean,
Yeah,
really.
we'll see
I mean,
Trevor at the event, so get one there.
Trevor is one of the guys. He'll be
Yeah,
at the
he'll be there.
Ozark. Oh,
Yeah, he's
perfect.
from
So that's
MoYak.
make it easy. You don't even have to ship anything. Who was the other one? Oh, Justin Largent. I'll see him at I'll see him somewhere soon because he fishes the Bassmaster stuff. So we'll probably see him at the Susky. So Justin Largent, tell you what, man, tell me which hat color you want. I'll text you. You know, we got all the different colors here, guys. Same with Trevor. And I'll bring them to whatever
Dude,
event.
that
I'll see you
yellow
guys
one
at.
is sick.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with any of them. We actually have some other ones too that if you're at the event, you can just pick whichever one you want. We got the ones with the leather patches. So, but yeah, guys, I'm excited. Anything else we want to cover on?
Yes. We do have
Go
one
for it.
thing. Someone asked about the dual motor thing and how we're going to approach that since MoYak does allow dual motors.
It's a good question.
So,
question.
I mean, that's probably more on our end.
Yeah, I would say if guys are going to be fishing both events at the same time, and you guys don't allow it, then they're not going to have it. But on
Right.
the rivers, I don't think that's even going to be an issue in this
No,
area
I agree.
because most guys aren't even going to be having their motors on the river. You know, some might, but
Mhm.
I can't see of anybody wanting to run duals. And if they
Right.
want to, they're going to have to know the rules and know that they can't do it. And
Right.
I think that's probably the best call, Josh, because rivers, you don't need it. Duck Creek is too small. You don't need it. Clearwater's too small. You don't need it. Wappapello might be the only place you possibly need it. And for those handful of people that are fishing there, it's kind of like, you know, that happen to also be MoYakers. You know what I mean? A lot of people fishing are going to be, you know, don't have two motors already rigged up anyway. So they can't all of a sudden go rig up. We don't want them to have to deal with adding a whole second motor just for this one event and otherwise be at a disadvantage. So let's just make it where if you're fishing with a motor, you got to stick to one. KAS rules in
Right.
this one. And for MoYak guys, you got to pay attention to that. So that makes the most sense. Well,
Yeah, I don't really think since like, you know, dual motor makes sense sometimes on like those bigger lakes. So like, you know, like Lake of the Ozarks, Table Rock, I could see it. But honestly, even Wappapello, which is the biggest water in bounds, like there's so many launches and there's like not a lot of like big runs. And there's not there's not gonna be a ton of pleasure boaters out there where you feel like, oh, I need a Newport to cut through the chop and then I want to throw my spotlight down. I don't think you'll need it in this event. Obviously, some people might disagree, but you'll have to make that decision, you know? It's one of those things.
I've got a question for you, Drew, from some of the guys from MoYak. We're talking last night. They're wanting to know about the check-in process, if they're going to be doing both and if they can't get to that check-in in time on Friday because they might not be able to roll in until later on in the afternoon. So how is that going to be worked with?
Yeah,
Is there the exceptions that some guys can just contact you, or
on Thursday is the registration and check-in. So yeah, it'd be Thursday. So here's what you got to do. You got to submit it to Amanda, our tournament director, Amanda Brannon. But you could go online or on the website, go to our contact form on the website. It just emails straight to Amanda, or you could do Amanda@kayakadventureseries.com. Or you can find her phone number. Either way, you just got to let her know you're not going to be there because we have to know a couple things. A, how are you getting your identifier? Just so you're aware, you can print them off of the website. Actually, I'm about to put them up because we can put them up as soon as they're ready because we have to write a code on them anyway. So it doesn't matter if they're up right now early. So I'm going to go ahead and put them up probably later today so you guys can start printing them off, laminate them, whatever you want to do. But we need to just make sure that you have a plan for getting your identifier. And you know, and obviously you need to still be responsible for that Wednesday of the tournament week, that Wednesday's live stream where I go over like the rules that we're going to kind of like emphasize that we need to emphasize, or it's basically your need to know. It's your need to know virtual meeting. And we just kind of go over like where you're going to park for the opening ceremonies, where you're going to park over here for closing, where they're all the stuff's going to happen, right? You're still responsible for that, which is easy because it's virtual, right? But then the other thing is, if you are getting a $100 prize bag from being one of the first 50, we need you to find someone that's going to be there that can grab it for you. It's very hard with all we have going on this tournament for you to just say, oh, we'll bring it to, you know, the festival on Saturday, bring it to the theater. Like I'm running around, Billy, Jake, we're like running around like chickens with our heads cut off doing so much that we don't have time to like figure that out. So we just need you to figure out how you're going to get that bag. You know, if somebody can.
And it's not hard. So
No.
just so people know, it's not hard. Like if you're going to miss the registration, we have had plenty of people do that. At Whitehall, I think we had like at least 15 that didn't
15
make it.
probably.
So it's not a big deal. You just have to make sure you contact us to take care of it, and it'll be painless. Trust me.
Exactly.
I know a lot of guys work and they can't get down there till Friday, so it's totally fine. I don't want people to feel discouraged by that, because if anybody's confused about it, they can always message me even, and I'll help you. And it'll be. I helped someone in Whitehall get his identifier. It was super easy. So same with the gift bags. If you tell me ahead of time you can't make it, I can go grab your gift bag. No big deal.
Yeah, because you're local anyway. You can probably figure it out. Just check you in.
I could drive home if I wanted to. So that's how it works.
Yep. We'll check you in virtually, basically. But we want people to be there because you know, obviously there's the games, the music, the food, the camaraderie, and there's a last minute question and answer session. There's a lot of, you know, you're rubbing elbows with your Jeff Littles, like myself, you know, Jake, Billy, whoever is there. Billy won't be at this one, but any of the, like, you know, celebrity anglers and YouTubers, you know, I don't think Alex Rudd's making this one, but you get my point. You're kind of going to be there where all the fun is happening, the fellowship. And because our tournaments doesn't start until 3 p.m. on Friday, we all go out afterwards and have a good time and just have a lot of fun. We go eat somewhere. Where are we going to be? Oh, we're right there at Haffy's for our
and that restaurant's cool.
It's very cool. We're going to stay there, eat, have fun well into the night, because you don't got to get up early the next day. But you will just have to, hopefully you will want to attend the Bass U brunch, which is at 10 a.m. at Half Whiskey, which is right down the street from Haffy's, right there in downtown Poplar Bluff. It's a cool whiskey saloon. It's brand new, and we're going to cook up pancake, sausage, bacon, eggs, all that good stuff, and have some seminars, which I was hoping I could announce the other seminar speaker. He's a Major League Fishing pro. I'm hoping he's going to be able to make it. He's looking into his schedule, and we'll see if that works out or not. But if not, I know I'll be doing a seminar, and at these seminars is when I really reveal and spill a lot of juice on stuff that I wouldn't just put on YouTube otherwise. You know what I mean? So,
and I even talked about doing something and a little less like serious, but like like rigging of your kayak to record type thing, because it's something that a lot of people it benefits you, because if you're recording during these tournaments, you catch a GoPro moment, guess what? You could win $1,000. So there's an incentive here to be recording. Speaking of, another incentive of coming to the check-in is if you're really on them and you're like, hey, Jake, I'm really on them, feeling confident, we might give you one of the KAS GoPros to borrow to record your moment. So
that's right. Yeah, get you set up and help you out. So, yep, lots of good reason to come to that check-in. We'll have all the hats, merchandise there. Other sponsors and vendors will typically be there. So, lots of. It was
fun. The last two have been a blast. Like, I mean, the Whitehall one was right there on the lake, and it was just the weather was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
it was perfect. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. The opening ceremonies are for sure. And then if you do, we will bring identifiers, the laminated ones that we get, to the Bass U brunch. So, if you don't make it to the check-in on Thursday, you show up to the Bass U brunch at 10 a.m. on Friday, we will have identifiers there for you to grab some extras. And so yeah, show up to that. And
so this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
There's a day one.
There you go.
Day
Yeah,
two.
Two-sided.
Day one, you write your code. Day two, you write your code. It's not that crazy. It's just it's two-sided, and like you just write the code on it. So if you print these off, like you don't even have to get the laminated one. You can just do it like you normally would. And I don't think MoYak requires you to have a special identifier. You just need the code, and I'm pretty sure you guys let them write it on your hand too, right?
Yeah, like I say, we keep it simple. They can write it on anything and have that card in there as well too. So should be.
Is it a separate code though for this event for MoYak, or is it just using the Kayak Adventure Series identifier as the?
We could just make it one identifier. We could just do that. Yeah, that's not a problem.
That's what a lot of other clubs have done. They just
sure.
So that way you don't have to worry about like two codes. I guess that makes sense.
So you only need to be paying attention to the Saturday code. You know what I mean? That's it for MoYak. All right. No, that's cool. Very cool. Anything else you guys can think of?
Designated launches. Is there is this required to launch at a certain place, or can guys contact you with the public access and maybe get it added like they do with some others, or how does that?
We don't even have designated launches. We just have, rules are just public. As long as it's public, you can launch there. So You know, a lot of
That's
your
good.
obviously like your canoe and kayak launches and your bridge launches for kayaks that aren't actual technical ramps are good as long as it's legal, which most bridges are. Missouri's pretty good about that. Lots of good access. You guys even are one of those states where I think even the landowners don't own the riverbed. That's why people drive. Is it Missouri or Arkansas? You can just drive ATVs right down the middle of the river.
No,
when it's
you
dry.
can't.
No,
Or is that
Yeah, you
Arkansas?
It's Arkansas. Missouri,
Arkansas,
they
yeah.
do own the riverbed.
They do own the
so-
riverbed. Okay, so it is different. But either
But,
way,
but Ozark Scenic Riverways are excluded from that. Like the National
Mhm.
Scenic Riverways, that does not. I believe the current river is one of those, so it is federally managed. Therefore, that rule does not apply to that river.
right.
If that makes sense.
But I still hate the fact that people drive ATVs in the middle of the river, like, and just
Yeah,
through
it's
it.
pretty
It doesn't.
gross.
It is. But anyway, but the access is good, is what I'm saying in Missouri.
It is. You won't
Very
run into
good.
any problems.
So anywhere that's public, and we actually have a flow chart on the website when you go look at our eligible water section, and we have we basically have. I mean, I can pull it up real quick if we want to share the screen, but we have a little a flow chart that actually here. Let me pull it up right now. And it actually helps people figure out what's public or not if they're confused. You know what I mean? If there's anything they're ever confused about, it's really not that hard. So Kayak Adventure Series. All right, let's go to Ozarkana. You come over here, Poplar Bluff. So scroll down, or you can just click on eligible water button right here, which I'll do. We'll zip you down. So it tells you the eligible water, Wapapello, Clearwater Lake, Duck Creek, Mingo Creek and Wildlife Refuge, Current River, Black River, St. Francis, and Castor. So essentially everything on this map right here, guys, these are all, if you click on one, you'll see when I click on it, see it says Current River. And click on this over here, it's Clearwater Lake. So all these are where you can fish, and anything within an hour basically of Poplar Bluff flows into one of those lakes or rivers. That makes sense. It's all that watershed. So you don't have to be like, it's not very confusing in the sense that anything you can find that's public and fishable and floatable within hours is virtually in bounds, unless it's a small, like smaller lake or something like that. They got to be flowing into one of these core bodies of water. All these are core bodies of water that I just read off to the left. And then at the red marks over here, basically just your downstream and upstream launch boundaries for the rivers. That's what the red marks are. So you can launch at those locations, but you cannot, and you could go further downstream or upstream, but you can't launch anywhere either further up or downstream from.
Yeah, and a lot of those launches too aren't even like, you're not even be able to get into that water, because if you go past Eminence there on that northwest boundary, like it's too skinny to launch to begin with. So we've actually done the due diligence on that stuff. So
yep. So there you go.
It's wild though, looking at that map, you can really see the stark difference between the mountains and then the floodplain. It's like so obvious on that map. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, that's why we just don't know what's going to win this thing. And that's what who really knows what kind of fish are in the floodplain?
I'm calling Wapapello. I have a feeling. So we'll see.
I mean,
I think it'll be one on the river myself.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think there's a chance even as one of those other lakes, the Duck Creek or Clearwater could be. It's just, I have a feeling this could be a sleeper because you're going to have them. You could very well have it to yourself. And I feel like smaller bodies of water, like smaller lakes, are easier to figure out than bigger. You know what I'm saying? So, but they're big enough where they have big fish. They're both.
I'm going to laugh when someone cracks 100 inches out of the Mingo canals.
Yeah.
It's like, I was fishing in like a 2-foot wide thing off Mingo. And
I mean, you never know, dude. Mingo Wildlife Refuge and Wilderness, as long as you're in that wildlife refuge and wilderness, there's like little ponds and just backwaters and beaver ponds and creeks. It's a creek that was dammed up. It's really a lake now because it was dammed up, and it's not like they've changed the course of it or something. But anyway, it's a weird place. So we've always talked about this, guys. An A spot, it's obvious, is not a winning tournament spot. It's not. A place that's hidden that maybe is some little pipe or some weird thing where you just need 5 fish over 2 days, 5 good ones, like some place like Mingo Wilderness could easily have 5 big ones in some spot that no one's really ever got to or found because they just haven't tried, because it's never been, like a priority, never been a tournament setting like this. It's pushing them, right, to go and try something new and explore something new. Then they catch 5 good ones and boom, it's like no one saw it coming sort of thing. So now there's a lot of dead ends. Trust me, you go to remote places. I know more than anyone that it does just not magical. Like you go somewhere that other people don't fish and there's not these giant 19, 20-inch fish everywhere. But, you know, every, 1 out of 10 times there is. So I can't wait to see how it shakes down. And then right after that, I am driving straight home, getting on a plane to ICAS, and I know, Jake, you'll be there for sure. So it's going to be a quick turnaround for me to ICAS. So I'm excited. A lot of good new products announced already. Z-Man's got some cool stuff they've been announcing, and I'm excited for a busy July, because then we go right to the Bassmaster Susky event.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the 3 weeks of chaos, but I am, but I'm not. It's going to be like controlled chaos for sure. So.
Yep. All right, guys. I'm trying to think anything we can see in comments before we got to wrap this thing up.
I tried to address most of them.
Jonathan says, is the identifier different? Yeah, the identifier is different for Friday and Saturday. We'll give you a new code at our 8 p.m. live stream on Friday night. The 8 p.m. live stream, we'll give you the code for Saturday to flip your card over and put it on that backside. If you're getting our card, if you printed your own card out, you have to, make sure you print both out, Saturday and Friday. So yeah, we might send Midwest Kayak Company some. We'll see if we can't get him some, or he could just print some off. I mean, I'm gonna have them on the website if you don't mind. If you got a printer there, the Current and Jack's Fork are both like that. What is he talking about? Are both like what? What were we talking about?
They're managed federally. They're scenic.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right. Cool. Yeah. So we'll see James.
Which means
over there.
Be careful what you're doing on the river, because if it's illegal in Missouri, it's not legal on the river there because it's federally managed.
Well, that's
hint,
true.
Hint.
Yeah.
For all you enjoyers out there.
Yep. We'll wrap up with this, I guess. Ethan here saying Texas is going to show out in Paris. Boys, have fun at Ozarkana. Wish you could make it. So I'm excited, man. I'm a lot of this year's live streams now. I'm starting to realize we're already well into looking forward and promoting a lot of next year's events. And that's going to be a good one. It's going to be, they're catching 9-pounders out of that lake already, and they're 20-inch 9-pounders because they stocked them in 2019. So are we going to see
footballs, man,
11-pounders next year? I mean, are they going to stop? They're going to only be 21 and a half next year inches. And if that's the case, could one of those other lakes that are going to be in bounds, the other 3-4 lakes, could win? But just because you might catch a 24-inch there, you're in Texas. So you could go to the hot new thing, right? On the, the whatever, the hot girl of the month, right? Or you could go back
to Old Reliable.
Old Reliable. Yeah. I mean, reminds you of college a little bit. So, all right, guys.
Or the fishing knot. All right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
all right, everyone.
I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
You are listening.
Thank you so much, Josh. Anyone that's tuning in late, go back and watch this one. A lot of good information. A lot of
We
questions.
did talk about check-in.
There were some juice.
You want to be shallow? You want to go up
Yep.
the
I got you, Trey.
Yeah, you can check in virtually. You can do it. If you have a good reason.
Simple. You get to choose your own.
See you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
See you guys.
That's a micro bag. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild.
Next week, guys, we may not be on.